Welcome to another episode of Van Tech Talks with Curt. I'm Curt, and today we're going to be doing part 2 of the recirculating shower. So, I went out for a bike ride early this morning, guys, and all the beaches are still closed, which makes a lot of sense, but I guess that means it's time that we have another Van Tech Talk.
This is a good a day as any to start the rebuilding of life.
So today we've got a lot of content to cover, so I'm going to jump right in. In part 1 of the recirculating shower video, we outlined or we talked about the performance of the system that we've experienced over the course of the last 10 months. You heard from Snow, you heard from me, and then we went into a bit of detail on the filtrations. We talked about the spin down filter, we talked about the sediment filters, and we didn't really talk about the UV lights, but I did get a question about the UV lights, and we do not leave them on all the time. We have an on-off switch, it's a 110 switch, and we turn the UV lights on when we're using them and off when we're not. But I'm going to do a whole nother video. I get a lot of questions on UV lights, so I'm going to do a video specific to the UV light filtration system that we have. I'm going to do another video on the heat exchanger as well. I have one out there. I didn't go into the last video, and I'm not going to have time to cover it in detail today, so I'm going to do a video on that as well. But this is the diagram that I showed you guys last time to give you an overview of the system. The two things that I did not cover on this diagram are the three-way valve and the solenoid valve, and so these are extremely important to the performance of our system, to the water quality, to the maintenance, and just the ease of actually using the system. So these are really important, so you want to pay attention. But in this episode, we're going to talk about it from a little different perspective. So if you can imagine coming down from a drone into the top of the van and coming through the van and through the floor and just seeing what our shower system looks like from the top down, this is it. And so to this side of the screen, the right of the screen, this is the back, and so my spare tire would be right here. So my big blue filters are right in front of my spare tire. The wheel wells would be right in this area right here on either side of the van. So the shower tank is right in the middle, right in front of these big blue tires, right in front of that spare tire. I have some water lines that run up to the middle of the van, up to where the kitchen is, and that's where my heat exchanger is. And then I have a return line running back on this side. So that, again, that's an aerial view of what the shower looks like. But I want to jump right into this and show you how this functions from this view, because I think this will make a lot of sense to you in terms of how the system, the schematics of the system are plumbed and all that other type of thing. There are 3 ways to fill the shower tank. And the number one, and this is not in order how we do it, but number 1 is to simply dump water in the shower drain. And we've done this only once because we had a big 5-gallon jug of water that we needed to use, so we dumped it down the shower drain to fill the shower, and that works fine. And if you want to do it that way, that works, but mostly we do it through the back. And so if you see right over here in the bottom right corner, there's a gate valve with an in, so I simply hook a garden hose on that and turn the water on, open the gate valve, turn the water on, and the water goes into the shower tank very simply like that. So that's what number 1 way. Now what happens in Mexico a lot is we can't find a garden hose of water. And so what we do is we buy the 5-gallon jugs of water, pump it into our tank, and then so we can fill the shower from our freshwater tank. And so this is how that happens. So from right here, the water comes in from my freshwater pump, and I have a valve right here. And so one thing to keep in mind, guys, is this system is pressurized at all times whenever the pump is on. So if the pump switch is on, the system is pressurized. So if I open a valve, that's going to release pressure, it's going to kick the pump on, and it's going to make things flow. So if I open this valve right here, it's going to release pressure off my freshwater pump, and it's going to pump it through here and into my shower tank. Now what I will say is I have a one-way check valve on that, so that there's no way that water can get back into my freshwater system. Also, that's a pressurized line going into my tank, and there's no back pressure. So, but anyway, I just want to let you guys know, you'll want to protect that. I would recommend that backflow preventer. And so those are the 3 ways that fill the tank. So the next thing I want to cover is the normal operation. So if you look at this view, the water, and again, remembering that this is a pressurized system, when I turn on the shower valve, water comes out, releases the pressure, and that kicks on my pump right here. And so the water is sucked through the tank, it's pushed through my spin down filter, and then it comes to this 3-way valve. Now the 3-way valve, the way it works, it's like a T. If I turn it this way, the water flows parallel, or that way. And if I turn the valve this way, then the water is going to flow this way. So that's how that works. Either the water goes this way or this way. And so in this diagram, it would be, I believe, well, I think if you're looking at it, it'd be right or up. But in any event, so I'm going to turn the valve this way, and so the water's going to flow through the filters, through the 3 sediment filters, up through the UV light filter, and then into the heat exchanger or straight up to the shower diverter. Now, as I told you, I'm not going to go into the full hydronics, but just know that the temperature of the water is not controlled by the heat exchanger. The temperature of the water is controlled by the diverter. So as you see in this diagram, there are 2 lines that go up. There's a cold line, and then there's a hot line after the heat exchanger. So when that valve opens up a certain percentage of each water, and that's what controls that water temperature, okay? I'm going to go into more on that into another video, like I said, but I just wanted to let you know. And so that's normal operation. You simply turn the shower on, and the water goes through our filters. Now, as I said, the UV light, we turn that on and off, so we have to turn that on before we take a shower. And that's the normal operation of the plumbing in the shower. Now, so let's start with the recirculation in normal operation. So again, I turn the shower diverter on, the water goes out the shower. Now in this scenario, we're going to go through normal operation, but I'm not going to turn the shower valve on. Instead, I'm going to use this solenoid valve. Now solenoid valves are awesome. If you guys don't know about these things, these basically are automated valves, and in my case they're 12-volt valves, and the electrics go up to the switch, you turn the switch on, and that'll open that valve. And so what happens is when I open this solenoid valve right here, again, the water releases pressure, and so the water will circulate right back into the tank. Now, here's why this is huge, guys. So when we're done showering, I told you, I think in my original video, that when we're done showering, that last 5 or 10 minutes of water, whatever it is, that doesn't go back through the filters, just sits in the tank. And so that was probably creating us some problems because we had a life going on in there that we weren't addressing. So now when we're done with the shower, we turn the light on, and the water just keeps recirculating through the filtration system. And so this allows us to scrub all the water in the tank and take everything out, and we'll run that from anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. So we'll make sure that we get all that water filtered before it sits in the tank, so no longer any issues with dirty water sitting in the tank. Now, the other thing that we do is we run it through the heat exchanger. So in the winter time, if it's just a little bit cold, we can just leave the recirculation on, and just the circulation, the moving water, will keep it from freezing. But if it's even colder, then we turn on our hydronic heater, and that sips a little diesel off of our diesel tank, and it'll heat that heat exchanger. So now we can recirculate hot water through that system. Now we have a timer on our S-bar heater, on our hydronic heater, so we can set that timer to go on and off so that it doesn't have to run all night, but we can still keep that water warm and recirculating and prevent any freezing problems. And so that's huge, that whole thing. And I kind of have to give Snow a little bit of credit because it was kind of her concept idea. I had to perfect it, but anyway, this is a really important part of the system, guys. It helps us keep our water scrubbed. If for some reason we don't use the shower for a couple days, then we can just recirculate the water. And so our best practice is when we're done showering, put a little bit of bleach into the drain and recirculate for 10 minutes, turn everything off, and we're good to go until we take our next shower. And so very important, our winterizing and our recirculation. Now, the next thing I want to talk to you is the back flush and dump. Now, this is a more important, not so much on a daily basis, but this would be part of your weekly maintenance process. And so again, as I told you, we have a 30-gallon freshwater tank. And so that lasts us for about 4 or 5 days, depending on what we're doing. And so when we get ready to top off with freshwater tank, that's when we dump the shower tank and add new water, and we do this back flushing and dump process. So I'll explain this to you. So if you look here in the back, I have a little gate valve. And so I can either just shoot that out the back, or I can hook a garden hose on that and drain through that. But essentially, again, remember that this system is a pressurized system. So as soon as I open that valve, the pump's gonna kick on and it's gonna spray water, it's gonna empty my tank. Now, what I'll also do is I'll take that spin down filter and I'll kind of twist that around. It's got those fins on it that kind of scrape against the screen, help clean the screen. And then I'll open that butterfly valve up and water will shoot there. So that's really the first thing I do. And I get that fairly clean out of there. And then I take and rinse the rest out of the back. Now, if I want to back flush my filters instead of just empty the tank, then I'm going to use this configuration right here. And this is where this 3-way valve comes into play. So now I'm going to turn the valve, I'm going to open the valve, and when I do that, it's going to allow the water to pass through here, come right back here, and come into the back side of the filter. It can't go up to my shower because the shower valve's not open. The solenoid valve's closed, so there's nowhere for the water to go. So the only where it can go is down here, and it back flushes the filters and then comes right out the drain. And so that's a good way for me to back flush my filters, and it works really well. And so I hope you enjoyed that little bit of a different look on how the system works, how we maintain it. I know that's quite a bit of detail, but the maintenance is an important part of the system, guys. And so that's what keeps our system running well. And I would encourage you to look at the solenoid valves. And you could use them for more applications than this, but they're just the coolest thing. Coming up, hydronic heating. I'm going to give you guys some more details on that. I'm going to go through and do a video on the UV filter, and for those of you guys who haven't seen our pass-through bathroom, go back and watch our van tour video. But I'm going to do a video on the pass-through bathroom because I'm not sure everybody really kind of gets how versatile that room is. So I'm excited to share that with you. And then Snow is working on a video for the most amazing thermal river ever. So you guys got to check that out. And a lot more coming at you. Thanks for joining us today. Thanks for watching our video. Please give us a thumbs up. Give us a comment. We want to answer your questions. See you on the next one.